Hello students, Chapter 2 We Are Not Afraid to Die. We will continue the second part of the chapter, page number 15, last paragraph. By morning on January 3. Now the author moved to the next day. By morning on January 3, the pumps had the water level sufficiently under control for us to take 2 hours rest in rotation. But we still had a tremendous leak somewhere below the waterline, and on checking I found that nearly all the boat's main rib frames were smashed down to the keel. So the author says that by morning on January 3, the water level sufficiently it was under control, and it took us 2 hours to rest in rotation, but we still had a tremendous leak somewhere below the water line. So there was still a leak somewhere below the water line, and upon checking the boat rib structure was badly broken uh, till the base of the ship. The whole section of the starboard was held together with a few covered partitions. So he says that the main rib frames were smashed down, it was all destroyed down to the keel. Keel is the steel structure along the base of the ship. In fact, there was nothing holding up a whole section of the starboard hull except a few covered partitions. We had survived for 15 hours since the wave hit, but Wave Walker wouldn't hold together long enough for us to reach Australia. Now he says we have survived for 15 hours since the wave hit. They were trying to save themselves, and they say that for 15 continuous hours we are able to survive, but Wave Walker couldn't hold together long enough for us to reach Australia. So I checked our charts and calculated that there were two small islands a few hundred kilometers to the east. So he started checking his charts and all, and came to the conclusion that there are two small islands a few hundred kilometers to the east, and one of them was Isle Amsterdam. So one of the island was Isle Amsterdam. It was a French scientific base. Our only hope was to reach these pinpricks in the vast ocean. So pinpricks in the vast ocean means that two small islands in the vast ocean, they were so tiny and it was like a pinprick by a pin. So it was the only hope. These two islands were the only hope in that vast ocean. But unless the wind and seas abated so we could hoist sail, our chances would be slim indeed. The great wave had put our auxiliary engine out of action. So he was saying that unless the wind and sea abated means something unpleasant to become less intense, so we could hoist sail, and our chances would be slim indeed. The great wave had put our auxiliary engine out of action. So he says there was only hope was there to search and reach that island, and if the wind and the sea do not cause any further damage, then their chances will be else their chances were slim. The wave had destroyed the ship's auxiliary engine. Auxiliary engine is the small secondary engine used to board ships to operate a windlass in the ship. So then on January 4, Then, on January 4, after 36 years of continuous pumping, we reached the last few centimeters of water. Then he moved to the next day, that is January 4. That was another crucial day which they have to more struggle was there on January 4. So after 36 years of continuous pumping they were doing, they reached the last few centimeters of water. Now we had only to keep pace with water still coming in. Now they only have to control the water which was coming. We could not set any sail on the main mast. So he says we were not able to um, we were uh, we were not could not set any sail on the mainmast. Pressure on the rigging would simply pull the damaged section of the hull apart. So we hoisted the storm jib and headed for where I thought the two islands were. So he says that we could not set any sail on the mainmast. So they were not able to put the mast on the mainsail, and then he says the pressure on rigging would simply pull the damaged section. Rigging means the ropes and the wires supporting the structure of the ship. So he says that this pressure on the rigging would simply pull the damaged section of the hull apart. Hull is the framework of that vessel. So we hoisted the storm jib. So we hoisted the storm jib and headed for where I thought the two islands were. So they hoisted the storm jib and they started moving towards that island. That was the only hope to survive themselves. Mary found some corned beef and cracker biscuits, and we ate our first meal in almost 2 days. Though they were prepared for all the things, food and everything, but due to sinking of the ship, they were not able to find and not able to even eat the food also. So somewhere she finds some corned beef and cracker biscuits, and we ate our first meal in almost 2 days. Then, next paragraph, our respite was short lived. Now, this is an here question also can be framed that what our respite was short lived. When and which day was that, and what is the situation at 4 p.m.? Black clouds began to building up behind us. Within the hour, the wind was back to 40 knots and the seas were getting higher. The weather continued to deteriorate through the night, and by dawn on January 5, our situation was again desperate. So our respite was short lived. He said that it was a very short period of time then when he had little rest. When they were having little rest, when they had some food uh, in the last 2 days, and when they took continuously pump out the water and very few water was remaining, that was only the respite they had on January 4. And then again 4 p.m. black clouds began building up behind us, and within the hour the wind was back to 40 knots. Already we discussed yesterday meaning of knot. And the seas were getting higher. The weather continued to deteriorate. Deteriorate means getting worsen throughout the night, and by dawn on January 5, then next day, by the morning of January 5, situation was again desperate. The situation was getting worse and worse. So January 4 and 5 were the both the days were very crucial, very poor days were there. When I went into to comfort the children, then he thought that let me first meet the children. So first of all, John was there and he said, Daddy, are we going to die? He just asked his father a question. I tried to assure him that we could make it. He said, no, no, we will able to overcome the situation. Then again he said, but Daddy, he went on, we aren't afraid to die. If we can all be together, you and Mummy, Sue and I. So he thought that I have to assure my son, but in turn, his son only was trying to convince him, encouraging him. And what he said, Daddy, if we aren't afraid of dying, and if we can all be together, you and Mummy, Sue and I, everything will be all right. So you please don't worry. So I could find no words with which to respond, but I left the children's cabin determined to fight the sea with everything I had. So, as soon as his son convinced him, encouraged him, he gathered all his strength again and with that full determination and courage, he again moved towards the cabin and determined to fight the sea with everything I had to protect the weakened starboard side. So again with full determination and courage, so he moved towards the starboard side and decided to heave to with the undamaged port hull facing the oncoming waves. So he thought that now I have to protect everything. So to protect the weakened starboard side, I decided to heave to. Heave to means to raise or lift with effort with the undamaged port hull facing the oncoming waves using an improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope and 22 222-liter plastic barrels of paraffin. Paraffin is the colorless flammable oil liquid. That evening, Mary and I sat together, holding hands, as the motion of ship brought more and more water in through the broken planks. We both felt the end was very near. Meaning of plank is a long flat piece of timber. So that day they both were sitting together. He tried his level best, whatever he can do. So he first of all he protected the weakened starboard side. Then with the undamaged port hull facing the oncoming waves, he used an improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope and 222-liter plastic barrels of paraffin. This was his last attempt to save themselves, and that evening he and his wife holding their hands together sitting, and as the motion of the ship brought more and more water in through the broken planks. The water was coming from the broken planks. We both felt the end was very near. They both were sitting and they thought that now end is near. He only he tried to move the direction towards that island and not sure whether they will reach or no, but still he tried. This was his determination. So, but Wave Walker rode out the storm, and by morning of January 6, with the wind easing. Now, another day was there, January 6. So, Wave Walker rode out the storm also. Wave Walker moved from that storm also, and by the morning of January 6, with the wind easing. So, January 6th, wind was at ease and they were moving. I tried to get a reading on the Saxent. Then he said that I tried to uh, get the reading on the Saxent is the instrument with an graduated arc of 60 degrees for taking altitudes and navigation to check the directions and all. This is the Saxent. Back in the chart room, I worked on wind speeds. So back on the chart room, I worked on the wind speed also. He was doing, though he lose the hope, but still he was doing the work. So back on the chart room, I worked on wind speeds, change of course, drift and current in the effort to calculate our position. The best I could determine was that we were somewhere in 150 150 kilometers of ocean looking for a 65-kilometer wide island. While I was thinking, Sue, moving painfully, joined me. The left side of her head was now very swollen and her blackened eyes narrowed to slits. She gave me a card she had made. Now, when he calculated all the things, in the meantime, Sue was there, moving painfully, badly injured, and she joined me. The left side of her head was now very swollen, as we beforehand read that she was having two black enormous eyes, and she was badly injured and there was a bump on her head also. So she was having very swollen and blackened eyes, narrowed to slits. She gave me a card she had made. So the best thing was that though she was injured, but then also she made a card for father. So this is how children encouraged him. First Joan and then Sue. So she said that I have made a card for you. On the front, she had drawn caricatures of Mary and me with the words, "Here are some funny people. Did they make you laugh? I laughed a lot as well." Inside was a message, "Oh, how I love you both." So, this card to say thank you and let's hope for the best, somehow we had to make it. It's a very beautiful message his daughter has given to him, and she made a card and she said that on the front she had drawn caricatures of Mary and me. Caricatures are the funny faces. Caricatures are the funny faces of Mary and his and author. And she said, "Here are some funny people, and did they make you laugh?" I laughed a lot as well. And inside there was a beautiful message for parents, "How I love you both." So this card to say thank you and let's hope for the best, somehow we had to make it. So encouraging message she has given for the parents that you will do everything for us and you are like our hero. They consider their father as hero, and this made the narrator realize that they had to make it to the island. Anyhow, like Sue thanked them and made narrator realize that they had to make it to the island. So this beautiful message of Sue encouraged him a lot, and he said, "Anyhow, we have to reach to the island." I checked and rechecked my calculation. Again, with that determination, he started and rechecking his calculations. We had lost our main compass, and I was using a spare which had been corrected for magnetic variation. So he said that already we lost one compass, one spare was there which had been corrected for magnetic variation. I made an allowance for this and another estimate of the influence of the westerly currents which flow through this part of the Indian Ocean. So he calculated everything, and at about 2 p.m. I went on deck and asked Larry to steer a course of 185 degrees. If we were lucky, I told him with a conviction, I did not feel he could expect to see the island at about 5 p.m. So this was his calculation which he has done, and he went on deck and asked Larry to steer in the direction of 185 degree, to move the ship to the direction of 185 degree. And he said, if we were lucky enough, then to we will reach the island, otherwise let's see and let's hope for the best. And idea was that they will reach till 5 p.m. Then with a heavy heart I went below, climbed on my bunk and amazingly dozed off. He was relaxed, not relaxed actually, means he has given the instructions and with that hope that surely we will reach, and he had a nice sleep. He went to sleep. When I woke up at 6 p.m. and growing dark, I knew we must have missed the island. When he woke up, it was 6 p.m. and it was dark. So he thought that we have missed the island, and with the sail we had left, we couldn't hope to beat back into the westerly winds. And he thought that now we cannot go back also to the westerly winds also. So we have to survive anyhow and manage anyhow. So at that moment, a tousle head appeared by my bunk. "Can I have a hug?" Jonathan asked. Sue was right behind him. So that moment, a tousle head means disarranged hair of the person of narrator's son. That is Jonathan, Joe or Jonathan, and he asked him, "Can I have a hug?" So Sue was right behind him. He said, "Why I am getting a hug now?" I asked. "Because you are the best daddy in the world and the best captain," my son replied. So, we always consider our parents as our ideal, our hero, role models. Same way, Jonathan and Sue also consider their parents as role model and hero, and he said, "You are the best daddy and you are the best captain." This was the trust and faith on their father. So, "Not today, John, I am afraid." "Why, you must be," said Sue in a matter of fact voice. "You found the island." He said, "What?" I shouted. "It's out there in front of us," they chorused. Chorus means when you speak together. "As big as a battleship." He said, "It is there in front of us, as big as a battleship." I rushed on deck and gazed with relief at the stark outline of Isle Amsterdam. He said that I went outside and I looked continuously at that stark outline of Isle Amsterdam. Stark outline means a border of that Isle Amsterdam, and it was only a bleak piece of volcanic rock. It was only a bleak piece of volcanic rock, means one abandoned piece of volcanic rock was there with little vegetation, and he now considered that this is the most beautiful island in the world. Why? Because he reached finally where he desires to move. We anchored offshore for the night. So we anchored offshore at the night. Anchor means when you moor your ship to the sea bottom, and offshore means situated at the sea with some distance from the shore. And the next morning, all 28 inhabitants of the island cheered as they helped us ashore. So how many people were living there? 28 people were living there, 28 inhabitants. 28 inhabitants were living over there, and they cheered as they helped us ashore. Ashore means on the shore of the island. On the shore of the island, with land under my feet again. He was very happy that finally I was standing on the land, because they were moving into the water for so many days and happy looking standing on the land, and he was it was very different and beautiful feeling, and my thoughts were full of uh, Larry and Herbie, cheerful and optimistic under the direst stress, and of Mary, who stayed at the wheel for all those crucial hours. So he said that I was very happy and cheerful and optimistic. Optimistic means having positive attitude under direst stress. So he said that direst stress means though he was uh, full of like situation was very panic, but still he was positive and moved from that situation. So most of all, I thought of a 7-year-old girl who did not want us to worry about a head injury, which subsequently took 6 minor operations to remove a recurring blood clot between skin and skull, and of a 6-year-old boy who was not afraid to die. So he was thinking about all the people who helped him and made this thing possible. So, first of all, Larry and Herbie, who were continuously pumping out the water, and then wife Mary, who was holding that steer wheel, and his son and daughter, who all the way encouraged him. So, this is how they were able to survive altogether. So, with this, we finished the chapter, and this is how the narrator and his family, with courage, conviction, presence of mind, and above all, strength of a family, brought them successfully out of their ordeal. So, this was at the last, the concluding line, that with courage, conviction, presence of mind, and above all, strength of a family, brought all them together and moved out of that trauma successfully. So, this is the end of the chapter. Thank you.